12th of February 2020. Piotr here. Good afternoon from my side. Good morning, good evening, whatever you are, guys. It's almost mid of the February, so it's time to make metals mid-month update. So without a further delay, let's start with the gold chart. All right, that's the monthly chart, guys, and we were discussing previously about that. The January was good. The thing is that the bulls hit the wall of the supply, right? So we've seen nice rally. During the January, right? And we hit this wall of the supply based on the monthly chart. Okay, it's also, guys, very important because that's from the monthly perspective, that's the level from where we made the high, right? After those 2 months of the consolidation, we run higher from here, right? So once we broke through that level from here, right, that's the first time we are retesting. So I'm not quite surprised that there are some hesitations from the buyer perspective right here, right now. Of course, for now, as long as we are above this red dotted line, is a yearly open, right? So we are still good, and the bulls might treat that as a rally continuation, right? So this yearly open as long as we are above, might work well, might provide some support, and we are talking about the levels between 1520, 1515, right? So from the higher time frame perspective, bulls are supported above 1500, right? The thing is that we have to, at some point, after the maybe retest of the yearly open, we have to move higher. Otherwise, if we are going to break below yearly open, then, you know, trying to use the imagination how the yearly candle may start to look like is going to be like upper shadow and negative body. But that's what we are going to watch and monitor. From the smaller time frame perspective, let's switch to the daily chart here on the gold. And well, that's something being discussed from the intraday perspective, some kind of the over under. So when we are going to add from the monthly, that is a supply, if you are going to add over under here on the daily chart, right, plus swing high created yesterday, all right, that's once we are below 1575, 1592, right, that might provide or might be good reason to try to take some profits, and we might retest the levels we discussed a second ago, right? So in case we agree that current action here, right, let's make it a little bit differently without this upper shadow. This price action, right, is some kind of the consolidation, and we are going to see lower levels. So from the daily chart perspective, we might double that range, right? And as you can see, retest of 1520, 1500 might be in play, and that's what the bulls have to have in the back of the head. That's the latest weakness. So when it comes to the visualization, all right, we might see lower levels, all right, we might see a little bit lower levels, but the buyers want to see the close always above, all right. I would be very careful right now trying to buy from the intraday perspective. As long as we are below 1590, 1595, as I mentioned a second ago, there is a chance we are going to at least retest 1545, right? And if we are going to make that break, we might see levels close to 1520, 1500 on the gold from the daily chart perspective. So let's have a look what we have from the intraday perspective, all right? We're trying to hold the latest weakness, right? So what I'm talking about, well, that's the latest weakness from here, right? We made this lower low compared to the level we've seen previously, right? So once we broke through that level, as you can see, this latest weakness provided some kind of the support 4 times already, right? Like here, 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 and here. So this 1560 looks like a solid support for now. So I would be very careful and cautious in case of the breakthrough that level. We might see retest 1565, 75 and move lower from here, right? So from the intraday perspective, as I mentioned, there is a possibility we are going to see short term a little bit lower levels. Then we will see. We are going to monitor. Don't forget, I've been trying to trade the short side yesterday. Don't forget that you can monitor my trades. You can find the link in the description. Okay, next one is a silver, right? So let's have a look where we are from the higher time frame perspective. Monthly chart here, when it comes, when we want to compare with what we've seen on the gold second ago, right? Well, still long way to go. Still long way to go. But if we are going to get close above 2050, right? We might see strong rise towards 27, right? And now if we agree that this is the consolidation and we are going to, after the break, we are going to double that consolidation, that fantastic move, and everything is going to play well in that case. Now, as I mentioned, it looks a little bit different than what we have on the gold. The thing is that even we have strong stocks rally, right? Looks like market prefer gold as a safe, right? So it's not that huge risk on sentiment, I would say, because if that would be the case, then the silver should be a little bit stronger. Your homework is to check the ratio between silver and gold. Anyway, so that's what the bulls wants to see. The break of 20 will open at 27, right? But we are well below 20, and the retest of the bottom of that consolidation cannot be ruled out, right? So the 14 as of now, that could be case for the buyers, especially that after this trend line break, it might be natural retest of that break, right? So, well, from the long-term perspective, I would be very careful and cautious and patient when it comes to the buying silver. So as long as we are below 20, I would rather wait for a pullback towards 1480, 1450 and 14, right? So that's how it looks from the monthly chart perspective. Let's have a look what we have on a daily chart. And to be honest with you, the same thing or almost the same to what we discussed with the gold, right? Now I see short term 1720, 1680, as a short-term support, right? So let's be clear, short-term, right? So let's get back to the monthly for a second. We were discussing 14 is a key, right? But short-term, for example, swing trading, I'm not talking about the day trading right now, but for example, from the swing trading perspective, if you are going to see something interesting in between 1720, 1680, right? That could be the case. It might be some kind of the attempt to break from the falling channel, right? So we might see, for example, price action like this and then break, retest higher, right? Higher, what I mean by higher, 1820 first, okay, and then those levels around 1870 from that perspective. Once we are going get back and close below 1680, right? Once we are going to get the close below 1680, okay, 1665, that might reopen first the 16, then 1480, and the levels we are discussing based on the monthly, the 14 level, right? From the seller's perspective, as long as we are below 18 for now, right, the continuation to the downside might be in play short term. Same what we discussed from the gold perspective, if you remember just a second ago. All right, next one, just briefly, the next one is going to be Palladium, okay? And as I mentioned lately, we made some measures and we reached some levels. I do expect some kind of the consolidation and even lower levels here, okay? What we measured was this type of the break of that consolidation, right? The wave to the upside. Well, now when it comes to how the pullback could be, it's clearly visible that those two, which were similar in size, right, now something much bigger. So that's from the daily chart perspective. I think the first possible demand, the real one, is around 2150, all right, and then 1975, right, and then 1800, okay. That's the crucial. Let's have a look where we have the yearly open, because this one is the base on the gold. That's our yearly open, right? Plus the December high. So that's the first demand zone from the monthly chart perspective, around 2000, and that would play with the situation we discussed here. It might be, guys, just 1-to-1, which would bring 2145 and 2000 in play. This latest weakness as well might be open. So I would be very cautious trying to chase the market here, right? Just be perfectly clear, I'm not saying I would trade short side. I would simply wait for the pullback towards 2000 before buying. Don't chase the market, all right? So hopefully it's a little bit clearer for you. So that was the mid-month metals update. It was my pleasure to be with you. Don't be trapped, guys. Have a great rest of the day and see you around. Take care and goodbye.